body was severed into several pieces and her head was found in this closet. If anything, I'm sensing quite a heavy male energy. And this is room 307. And in case you're wondering, it isn't just ghosts who frequent the Glen Tavern Inn. Over the years, it's been visited by guests such as Clark Gable and Carol Lombard, so in its heyday, it was a Hollywood hotspot. Hi, it's Brocarde here. I've travelled across California to the famous Glen Tavern Inn. Why? Because this place is rumoured to be highly haunted. I've checked in to the most haunted room in the whole hotel, room 307. So I'm wondering, what makes this hotel so haunted? Apparently, the third floor of this hotel used to be a gambling hall and speakeasy, and as such, all kinds of crazy debauchery allegedly went down. Room 307 was apparently the room where prostitutes used to bring their clients for a little bit of after-hours fun. There are two ghosts that are said to haunt this hotel. One is the ghost of a prostitute who was murdered by one of her clients, and the other is a ghost of a cowboy. Both of them have been known to hang out in room 307, or so I've heard. So I'm intrigued to find out if I'll experience any hauntings this evening. So let's get back to the ghosts. Apparently there are two resident ghosts that have said to haunt room 307. One of them is the ghost of a cowboy. The other, as I mentioned, is the ghost of a prostitute who apparently was bludgeoned to death in this very room by one of her clients. Her body was severed into several pieces and her head was found in this closet by a maid. Imagine opening the door to find a head staring back at you. That's enough to have anyone running for their life. So what are my first impressions of the Glen Tavern Inn? Do I find it haunted? Well, at the moment, I'm not sensing anything untoward in room 307. In fact, for me, the most eerie place of this hotel is in the corridor of the third floor as you approach these end rooms. It's said that this whole floor, the third floor, used to be a gaming hall and a speakeasy in the Prohibition era. That's why it's said to have so many unsettled souls, because a lot of debaucherous goings-on happened within these walls. Of course, with gambling, drinking, prostitutes were on tap, literally, and a lot of women of the night used to work out of room 307. I cannot personally confirm whether one of them actually met their end here, but it's been widely reported, and a lot of people have seen the ghost of this woman still haunting this room. I thought an interesting place to start my paranormal investigation would be the closet where her remains were supposedly found. Now, this is a little bit gruesome, but obviously they've been moved and they're no longer in the cupboard. So that would be pretty vile. It's funny, the energy in here does differ from the rest of the room, and I can't quite work out why that would be, because although her remains may have been found in here, it seems quite unlikely that she would have been butchered in the closet. I'm not quite sure how it got to her being butchered by her client, but if you let your imagination run a little wild, it could be for a number of reasons, and I guess she's no longer here to tell her tale, unless we reach her this evening and connect with her on some level. But as I said, I'm not really picking up any kind of connection to any prostitute that did work here. If anything, I'm sensing quite a heavy male energy. And when I was standing by the foot of the bed earlier, I did hear someone, although I may be mistaken because I was in the middle of unpacking. I did hear a voice saying, "I want a drink." Very deep, gravelly voice, and it will be interesting to see if I hear any more from that spirit this evening. I always find when I'm trying to channel energy of paranormal, I find myself wanting to go closer and closer to the ground, like the source and the root of the room. I always get drawn to sit down or lie down on the floor to really try and soak up the energy. And it kind of just helps me tune in. And I don't normally use these, and I don't know what to make of them, because with my kind of abilities to communicate with spirits, I haven't really up to this point used a lot of ghost hunting gear, as you could call it. And the other day I got given by a lovely lady called Kelsey these rods, which worked very well for me inside the Nevada State Penitentiary. So I brought those with me because I feel like this shows you the energy and the things that I'm picking up on, because otherwise I'm just describing a vision and describing someone who's present with me, and it's difficult to show that to a viewer and show them what's inside my mind. So sometimes these can work and show you how spirits are answering the questions that I'm putting out there. But I'm still not sure if they're for me. I'm trying everything and trying to develop my skills further and further. And I've also got a couple of cat balls each side of me. Now, these are motion censored, so as you can see at the moment, they are not lighting up, but if you touch them, they start flashing. So the theory would be that if a spirit was standing here, that could potentially trigger one of those spirit balls. But again, I'm not sure what my thoughts are about those, and we'll see if we pick up any activity on those. So I find very bizarre. I've noticed I'm sitting on this rather well-loved carpet, shall we just describe it as that? And there is a blood splat on the wall, which is a little bit unnerving because it's a bit of a stark reminder of what happened in this room, but it is just a sticker, probably just left here by a prankster, I guess. So I'm going to start with these, and it's probably worth bearing in mind that while I'm moving these around, the cat balls could go off because obviously I'm spinning rods in their vicinity. So I always have one of these is stubborn, it doesn't quite want to play. But the theory with these is I'm very clumsy, as you might be able to tell. The theory is you shake off the energy and reset every time you start using these. So I'm going to ask the rod a series of questions and see what happens. It's in the middle of the night here at the Glen Tavern Inn. Is there anyone present with me? No, it's funny. I haven't really sensed anything really at the moment, which doesn't make for the most interesting YouTube, but I'd rather be genuine and honest about what I'm sensing and what I'm seeing, because obviously if I started to go into every haunted house or haunted hotel and immediately saw all the ghosts that were supposed to haunt them, then that would probably look very disingenuous and probably would be very unrealistic. I feel that it doesn't necessarily mean that this area isn't haunted. It just means that perhaps those spirits don't want to connect with me for whatever reason, and I think that's fine. Like I said, I haven't really sensed anything that would lead me to believe that there is residual energy still in this room, but again, that doesn't mean to say that other people don't experience that. So we're all individuals and we all have unique experiences of paranormal encounters. So I'm going to continue. I'm going to ask a few more questions. Okay, I just let them settle a little bit. Are you happy? Yeah, it's kind of what I thought, like they're just really not. I feel like there's really no spirits in the closet, and I mean, you have to remember the Prohibition era is a hell of a long time, and if this prostitute was murdered in this room, then there's a hell of a lot of time where her spirit could have passed on, and this is one of those places that is notorious for ghost hunters and paranormal activity, and people are coming here seeking spirits on a daily basis, which I guess if you are a spirit, that does become draining as well, because you're not really resting at all, let alone resting in peace, which arguably, I guess, if you were a ghost, you wouldn't be resting in peace anyway. So it's an interesting topic, it's an interesting room. I feel like I don't sense any heavy energy. I want to share the stories of the hotel and continue into the night and see if I pick anything up, but like I said, I'm not going to create anything for entertainment purposes. I want to be genuine about the things that I experience, and I just want to be upfront if nothing much is going on, and I feel like nothing much is going on in here. And I don't want to put a test out to the spirits to go, oh, if you're here, shake the cat ball, because I'm not sensing it. I'm not feeling it, which is interesting. I've moved to the edge of the bed now because I feel a lot more comfortable with 2 feet on the ground, not in the middle of the bed when some guy is brushing past. So kind of come back to this post because whenever I see this apparition, he's always here at the foot of the bed. And I thought I might try again with these to see if I can try and connect with him for you guys, so you can see what I can see. Okay. And I'm going to try and ask a few fun questions and not obvious ghost hunter questions. Are you thirsty? Okay, yes. Yes. Okay. Are you looking for the bar? It's not crystal, but it's slowly making their way to yes each time. So we've already, that kind of aligns with what I was feeling. He clearly needs a drink and he's clearly thirsty and he's clearly thinks that this is a bar. Or maybe he can get a drink, but not on the 3rd floor. If he goes downstairs, I'm sure he could get a drink. Are you looking for a prostitute? Oh, that seems fairly unconclusive, so maybe he's just a cheeky chappy trying it on, and maybe he's not actually here to utilise the brothel that once was. Are you happy, Billy? Not sure. It's probably because I moved, but these are quite cool, and I haven't had them I've only had these for a few days, but I feel like so far they've been quite accurate at picking up what I'm feeling and what I'm seeing, because it's like with Billy, I can only really sense that he wants a drink and he's thirsty, and that's the questions that are being answered via these. So I feel like that's the funny thing about spirits, like they don't always want to tell you their life story, they don't always want to communicate in great depth, and the more I come to understand my gift is that sometimes you can just have a fleeting thought or a fleeting moment and you can connect with a spirit momentarily, and they don't necessarily want to continue the conversation. They don't want to carry on. They don't want to be present for the whole night. It's just like people, I guess. You know, you could meet a person in a bar, a man, a woman. You could say a few words to them and they go about their business. They carry on, they move past and they continue. There is quite a weird energy in this gap. How do I describe it? It's very fragrant. There's almost a smell of probably the worst perfume you've ever smelled. Like, imagine your grandma and mothballs mixed together. It's that kind of choking perfumery, kind of mustiness in this spot, which is interesting. Perhaps the wardrobe used to have mothballs in it, but I think it's a long time since mothballs smelt like that. But yeah, there's definitely a fragrant energy in this spot. It's very, very bizarre.